Now, in our first story, the Deputy Health Minister, Dr. Bernard Okoboy, has told Parliament no COVID-19 related death has been recorded in senior high schools since the reopening for the school year. He says all senior high school students who tested positive for the virus have since recovered and are writing the ongoing WASSCE. He delivered a statement in Parliament on behalf of the Health Minister to update members on the fight being made by Ghana on coronavirus.
Mr. Speaker, by the grace of God, most of the COVID-19 cases reported in our senior high schools have recovered and are back to school and, in fact, taking part in the West African Senior Secondary Certificate Examination, WASSCE exams. Mr. Speaker, I take this opportunity to thank the health workers who took care of these cases, who, though asymptomatic or mildly ill, required close monitoring and supportive care to expedite recovery and ensure reintegration back to school. Mr. Speaker, by the grace of God and the interventions of government through its ministries and agencies, mainly ministries of education and health, no COVID-19 related death had been recorded in our senior high schools. We trust that by the grace of the Almighty and arrangements put in place by the Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Health would help steer all students in the schools to a successful completion of their examinations.
Meanwhile, a family of a woman who tested positive for COVID-19 in the Bekwai municipality of the Ashanti region has rejected laboratory results indicating it was the disease that killed her. Her relatives say the food vendor who died less than 24 hours after being admitted at the Kotia 7-day Adventist Hospital never contracted coronavirus. Ohimin Teria has been investigating the claims and has come through with this report.
Akuya Frima, affectionately called Inokuya, has been taking care of her 12-month-old grandson after the passing of her mother on June 25, 2020. The baby's other 6 siblings also live with Ino Akuya. Their mother, Rahel Adujemfi, 37, died less than 24 hours after being admitted at the Akoma Memorial Adventist Hospital at Kotia for showing symptoms including breathing difficulty, vomiting and diarrhea.
Even securing an IV line was a problem, and given the history that there was profuse vomiting and diarrhea, she actually came in what we call hypovolemic shock. The patient was also breathless, okay, so she had become oxygen dependent, and we had to give intranasal oxygen. She was actually even responding.
Well, we apologize for the loss of sound in that story and the break in the flow. But we'll try and rectify that and bring that to you subsequently. But still on health, access to reproductive health information for adolescents with disabilities is a challenge in the Bongo district of the Upper West region. According to Youth Harvest Foundation Ghana, a youth-focused non-governmental organization working in the region, many adolescents living with disabilities in the Bongo district have either been sexually abused or discriminated against when they try to seek information about their sexual reproductive health. Government's attention is therefore being drawn to these issues and how they affect persons with disability. Albert Sori has more on the story.
Youth Harvest Foundation Ghana is a youth-focused non-governmental organization working in the Upper East region. The organization recently launched the Safe and Protective Environment for Adolescent Development, dubbed the SPREAD Project. Under the project funded by Global Affairs Canada through UNICEF, Youth Harvest Foundation seeks to build the capacities of adolescents and communities, including their structures and duty bearers. This will help create an enabling environment that supports child protection, prevents early and forced marriages and teenage pregnancies, as well as respond to sexual and gender-based violence. The Bongo district is one of 6 districts under which the Spread project is being implemented. This engagement session was held with persons with disability in Bongo to enable Youth Harvest Foundation listen to their experiences, especially when it comes to access to information about their sexual reproductive health. Khadija Hamidu is Assistant Project Officer at Youth Harvest Foundation Ghana.
The need to access reproductive health information is important, as well as the services for reproductive health. So we use this opportunity to let them know that as persons living with disability, they even have greater needs for this information and service than the rest of us. So they should use the right avenues to seek for the information and the services. Some of the issues that came up was the issue of the accessibility to the buildings, public buildings, and also the fact that health professionals do not understand their needs and their plights. Also, society also have some misinformation about them because of their nature. So we try to encourage them that even with their disability, they should still seek for the information and service because they need it.
Project officer in charge of the Spread project, Albert Nyaba, said, although physically challenged persons in the country are taken into consideration when it comes to financial support, there are many other areas that still need the attention of government when it comes to persons with physical challenges.
We realized during the interaction that a lot of them, because of their situation, have been taken advantage of. They have been forcibly given out to marriages as adolescents. Some have been raped. Some are victims of school dropout, which are unfortunate. But you know, with the Sustainable Development Goals, we are leaving no one behind. And so it is important that we rope them in properly into the project.
For the persons with disabilities here in Bongo, very little is often done for them when it comes to issues relating to adolescent reproductive health or sexual and gender-based violence against them. Abuguri Nyaba, a visually impaired woman, shares her experience. My mother sells drinks in the house. So there was this one occasion when a man came to buy a drink. It was in the afternoon, and I was alone at home with my little baby. After I served him the drink, he started touching me and said he wanted to sleep with me. I refused and told him I was going to shout for people to come in if he did not stop. So he stopped and went outside to check if there was anyone around the house. That gave me the chance to escape and hide before he could return. I later reported him to my mother, but this man is well known in our extended family, so nothing was done about it. I was told to forget about it since he did not succeed in his attempt to sleep with me. Youth Harvest Foundation Ghana is calling on government to take a critical look at how adolescent reproductive health and issues of sexual and gender-based violence affect physically challenged persons in the country. For Joy News, Albert Sori, Bongo.
Meanwhile, a four-member committee set up to investigate the death of a final-year student of the KNUST Senior High School has submitted a report to the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council. Now, Leonard Richard Sam died after a short illness in school when teachers allegedly left him in the care of his colleagues for fear of contracting COVID-19. Establishment of the committee was based on the Local Government Act 936, Section 188, which gives the regional minister supervisory role over education in the region. As a result, the Ashanti Regional Minister, Simon Osei-Mensah, says the report will be forwarded to the Minister for Education, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, who will take a decision to make it public. Anaya Ojima has more in the following report.
High Court Judge Justice Obendiewu led the committee in investigating the matter. Security and Intelligence Act, and the Local Government Act back the setting up of the committee. In about a month, the committee was able to put together a report indicating what contributed
Once again, we have to apologize for the loss of sound, but we have to end the news. Before we go, though, let's dwell on the issue of the final day of the voters' registration exercise. And it appeared to have been rather slow in some centers. Joy News visited in the capital. At Nima, for example, some centers had recorded as low as just 2 applicants at the time. The electoral officers told my colleague Nancy Emefajiradosi that the highest figure recorded since the beginning of the final phase had been 30.
We are currently at the Kizito school here at Nima, and behind me are 3 different registration centers. When we got here, basically there's actually nobody, no applicant is here to register. So the place is virtually empty with only electoral officers seated in their seats patiently waiting. I earlier engaged some of the electoral officers who told me that today has been generally slow and this week entirely has been very, very slow. They tell me that today only 2 people have registered at each center. So in total, 5 people, they tell me 221. And so 5 people in total have registered at the Kizito Center. But I want to engage the electoral officer for center number 3 to find out from her basically how things have been going. She'll be able to tell us and give us a different perspective from what we already know. So please come closer to me. Thank you. Okay. So I see that there is actually nobody here. What is going on?
Oh, majority of the people have registered. We've been to 5 phases, so this is actually the last phase. So majority of the people who have already registered, they've crossed over to go and register in other centers.
We've been here. This is the hotspot of Nima when it comes to elections. This past 6 days, how many people have your center at least registered?
We have 107.
107. That's not encouraging.
It's not at all, but it's still accountable for, because the other areas have recorded the higher numbers, which means that it will still tally anyway. Yes.
And today, how many?
Today 3.
Today 3. Are you expecting more?
No. We are not at all.
What was the highest you've recorded in a day and the lowest here?
The highest, we started with 30, then 31, then 10, 10, and then 3.
Well, we'll have to bring you the latest news highlight as to which ones have been published on the front and back pages of the dailies. It's a Friday. We'll do that. After that, we'll look at the latest sports headlines and tell you about our big relationship conversation and all that we need to talk about when it comes to how the senior high school student writing the current West Africa senior school certificate examination are behaving. And just isolated incident. Now, the Ghana Education Service says that they will enforce disciplinary actions or measures against such rampaging or recalcitrant students. We'll take a look at all these right here on the show today. Well, so we have to do the newspapers now, and Mama V seated. Mama V, how are you?
Oh, hello, Roland. Welcome. Good.
Great.
Thank God it's Friday. Oh gosh.
Well, I'm not sure that we should be excited about Friday, because you know what? By the time you see that it is Friday, it is a Monday, because Saturday is almost like a day that just blows away.
I know what you mean.
I mean, in my perspective.
But I'll have a long sleep. I don't have to wake up.
Well, true. Yeah. Sleep is good. Helps you to rest. I want to say good morning to Nana Yaujemfikese. He is the acting general manager for Road Safety Management Services Limited, as well as a good brother of mine, Salifu Combat. You're the head of primary healthcare pharmacy. the Boku Presbyterian Hospital. I have to say good morning to you as well and the rest of your family. And,
let's say good morning. Are you done with your good morning?
No, I wanted one more, but you finish.
Good morning, Gifty.
Yeah, Gifty. Gifty is so wonderful. The internet. Gifty, talk. Unmute.
I've unmuted.
Okay.
Can you?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah. So I've unmuted. Good morning. Can you hear me? Is it smooth? I hope it is.
Well, listen, if it is not smooth, next Monday you have to move to my neighborhood.
Well, you can see I'm not in my usual neighborhood. So.
But it's good to see you. Hopefully we have a flow with the review, particularly on your side with the network today. But we've got a couple of the papers. Tell us the papers that you're doing, Gifty, and just jump straight into it.
Okay, so I have the Dispatch, the Daily Dispatch. Let me start with the Daily Dispatch. The banner headline for Daily Dispatch, focus on former Volta and Northern regions. We'll see the full story on page, I think, 4. Yes. And then it gives you a breakdown of the former Volta region and the former Northern region. Then EC extends registration at district offices to Sunday. As you know, Mamavi, the process was supposed to end on the 6th, which was yesterday. But it's been for those who are doing it at the district offices, it's been extended to Sunday. That's the Dispatch reporting. And evacuation of 727 stranded Ghanaians. Kennedy at Japan contributes $200,000. The story is on page 2, and it comes with Mamavi, your friend, Member of Parliament for WASSCE, Kennedy Japan.
Central.
Sorry, Kennedy. Kennedy Japan there. So let's look at what it has on the inside of those papers. Okay, quickly. Just let me take a look here. Right. So on the back page of the Dispatch newspaper, you have 2020 voters register and ethnicity. Part 3, it looks like the focus on the former Volta and Northern regions. I'm not really sure what this is. Okay, so it's a political desk analysis by the Dispatch. So that's what it has there. I have a Green Street, 2 others pick up forms for CPP flag bearer race. CPP PA, I mean, for 3 months anyway. So I think it means I will be hearing more of them as we go along. I also have the Finder newspaper banner headline, President optimistic. Petroleum industry will bounce back soon. That story is on page 11 of the Finder newspaper. But other stories on that front page is government's COVID-19 interventions commendable, according to the IFS story on page 5. And Kennedy Japan donates $428,650 to evacuate. Okay, the figures seem different on the pages anyway. On the other, it was different on Dispatch, and it looks different on the Finder. I'm not sure if. Yeah, so to evacuate 727 stranded Ghanaians in Lebanon, you know about the blast there. So that story is on page 4. And free SHS is more valuable than gold. Afenyo Akin is saying that. Noguchi gets full body disinfection chamber machine, certainly to help with the work that they do. And in the center spread of the Finder, First Lady supports Tema Homo War Festival. We know that the First Lady is a Ghana, so she's supporting the Homo War Festival. Nice one. President commissions University of Environment and Sustainable Development. University of Environment and Sustainable Development. Is that a new university? Mamavi, you can read the first paragraph for me maybe later, because I can see. Yeah. And then free SHS more valuable than gold. That story is on the center spread as well. MTN delivers strong first half results amid COVID-19. Of course, the biggest beneficiaries of the COVID-19 is the people in the telecommunication industry. And reintegrating out of school children into Ghana's formal education system. There's also a story on that there. So the Finder newspaper, the front page, and okay. So I think I skipped something. Did I? Okay.
I don't think you did, but I wanted to consolidate the figures for you because you were talking about the donation that Kennedy Japan made, and the fact that the figure is different in the dispatch and the finder. So here's the clarification. He personally donated $200,000 and also made an appeal and got people to support with the rest of the figures. That's why you see the bulk figure of the $428,650 in the fine. It's also embedded in that story. It clarifies the fact that he personally contributed $200,000. There's
the back page of the finder has a story about COVID-19 packages more. Is that the back page? No. I think that was yesterday's paper. So yeah, that's it for me.
Okay, great. There's something else, and I think when we go on myjournline.com, we will hear about the other bit about Kennedy Japan that's in the news that I don't see the newspapers covering, but this has to do with Sami Jemfi, the communications officer of the NDC, and his complaint to the police CID headquarters about comments that Mr. Japan had made. But let's run you through the Daily Graphic newspaper. On the front page, well, Kennedy Japan is also here with the evacuation of Ghanaians from Lebanon with the money that he's mobilized, $428,000. Don't make Parliament preserve of elites and wealthy. Well, it will be interesting to share a bit of that. So we'll go to page 13 in the course of the review. Magdan CEO welcomes government guarantee scheme, but the banner headline, this is something that's been unfolding. Outcry over WASSCE misconduct. GS denounces students' offensive acts corporate to be debordinized. And yesterday, the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Professor Kwesi Opoku-Amankwah, issued a statement, a very extensive one. And we will be talking about this subject. Indeed, we've been discussing in discipline what's been going on with some of the schools. But it says extremely reprehensible and appalling. This is the verdict widely passed on the violent activities by some school candidates in the ongoing West African Senior School Certificate Examination. Leading the condemnations are the Ghana Education Service and the National Commission for Civic Education, with the GS hinting of some tough actions against the perpetrators of the acts. With NAGRAT, if you go on myjournline.com, there's NAGRAT's also making some calls there. Yesterday we had NATS in the studio. So pretty much all the associations or the stakeholders of education condemning what we've seen. And it looks like it's not ending, because when you talk about one, you realize that just as you're talking about one incident, another one is unfolding elsewhere. In the center spread, Dr. Doris Date laid to rest the remains of one of the country's finest media practitioners, Dr. Doris Ya Date, yesterday laid to rest at the Lashibi Funeral Homes near Tema. A former board chairperson of the Graphic Communications Group Limited, Dr. Date passed away at the Kolibu Teaching Hospital on July 19 this year after succumbing to breast cancer disease she battled for about 6 years. And the Graphic has been very consistent, telling us, giving us update of the final burial. I think prior to this, Sami Heso, absolutely rest in peace. Our condolences to the families. Graduates in advanced welding technology call on president. That story is also in the center spread, as you can see. And private schools appeal for stimulus package to pay staff. The Ghana Council of Private Schools has appealed to the government to offer a stimulus package of 400 million Ghana cedis to the council to enable it to pay salaries of their teachers and other staff. It said following the closure of schools in the past 5 months due to the outbreak of the coronavirus disease, its members had not been able to generate funds to pay their staff. Yesterday, we shared a story of how a school teacher is now taking about a quarter of what she used to make. So she's teaching a student. This is like a private kind of thing that she's picked up, and she's teaching a student. She's making a quarter of what she used to make. It's really, really not easy. Some of the schools have graduated online, but not many of the schools. So those teachers at least are making something, but there are others who are not making anything at all. On the back page, spillage of Bagri. Communities asked to evacuate. Western Region pilot cylinder recirculation model. To the Times front page, demo of our ongoing 2020 WASSCE GS others slam Righteous students demand punishment for those who vandalized, destroyed school property. Rowdy Senior High School final year student beats WAEC official, invigilators, and journalists. EC ends nationwide voter registration exercise, embarks on two-day mop-up Saturday. Explosion at Beirut port. Lebanese embassy opens book of condolence in Accra Monday, and the people of Beirut absolutely angry at their governments and leaders because they say these high explosive, these materials was known to them. They had actually been warned that something like what we saw on Tuesday could happen, and they didn't take any action. Absolutely angry at their leaders. On the back page, work on redevelopment of Takrady Market Circle to begin soon, and 22,000 tree seedlings planted in 6 districts in the Upper West region and Savannah region. I guess I'm right. Okay, Roland?
Yeah, let me look at the Daily Guide. It has on the front page. Seku fights Professor Okwe over Founders Day is a big debate. Always has been, will be, I believe.
I've been tired of it. I didn't talk about it on the holiday. I just let it go. I only wanted to play
the episode. Yeah, he brought that to us. Anna's judge gets pension benefits, and a story also very moving as well. I read it and I thought that was...
you know, that story was reported, but we all didn't pay attention to it. It was actually covered an entire page in the graphic. Was it this week or last week? I'm confused. I think it's Monday or Friday.
Okay.
And
I think I saw it last week.
I saw it later. And I said, when it's the bad news, we all talk about it, but when something positive comes out of it.
Well, we should also, at least I know one of those antagonists in that investigative piece, and its outcome has since passed, I remember. Martin Amidu is currently the special prosecutor, was also a counsel to one of them. Mahama gives Nana 8 years. We talked about this yesterday morning. He said that was a big mistake. That will be capitalized on. It's occupying the front page of the Daily Guide. Government redirects. They could have
done this yesterday, but they decided to wait and bring it today.
For it to simmer. So simmering effect. Government redirects public spending, according to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I met empty coffers. Kufuado tells chiefs. On the back page is all sports. Hearts new boy eager for action. When we resume, John Terry pops up on Aston Villa radar. And we all do know that, well, the Premiership is what we love. Well,
there's Champions League.
Yeah, they have new fixtures, but they have the last run-up of matches. Just going to be played in some few days, crash program as it is. And just within a period of 90 minutes, you're supposed to finish everything else. So some new rules there, all because of coronavirus as it is.
You're done?
Yes. I wanted to talk about McDan. That's my pick.
Oh, you want to talk about McDan. Getty, can you hear us? You're still with us?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do.
Let's start with you. What's your pick?
Okay, I wanted to comment on the school, the Brighton, student. It's just amazing. I have no idea where this story is coming from. I mean, where this behavior is coming from. I feel like I didn't see it coming. Maybe others saw it coming, but I didn't see it coming. But I'm excited about the seriousness with which the Ghana Education Service is, dealing with it. We've seen a very quick move of action being taken, which is really good. But it looks to me like Mama B, you said, once you try to deal with it at a point, it starts again elsewhere. And I don't know what's really happening. And I think there has to be some sort of research into this thing and why it's happening. Yes, I think so. Why it's happening.
They have free education. They are not paying. Really, I mean, it's free. They want free exam as well.
But I think it might be oversimplification of the issue if we just nail it on free education. I think free education has something to do with it. The young people, the students are now having this awkward sense of entitlement and saying that feeling we have to pass. And I think it's something that's worked on their mind with the free SHS, without the politics that we have done with the free SHS as well. Great policy, but with the politics that has come with it. So now they're feeling like, yes, we have to pass. And I don't know who's pushing this into their head, but like I'm saying, we have to do some research. The GES has to do some research into it and how we can avoid this the next time, because this is absolutely bad. And if we should continue, we're dead. We shouldn't be encouraging this. I also find the ATS thing very interesting. Politics is a very interesting game. It gets even more interesting when you put it here in Ghana. I have no idea how Mr. Mahawa made that mistake.
He didn't even say it was. He said it was.
And I think they're going to really use it. Like you're saying, it's not going to go away. I had Dr. Mustafa Hamid say, the first comment he made when Evans was interviewing him on Top Story was, oh, well, first of all, we want to thank the former president very much for acknowledging that the president is going to have another 4 years. I was like, here we go again. He's not going to have an easy day with that at all. And I wish him the best with it. Yeah, there was a particular story that you mentioned, Mama V. I've forgotten. It was one of the papers. I don't know how I missed it. I don't have a pen here, so I haven't put it down. Otherwise, I would have remembered. Maybe as we go along, I'll remember if we have time.
Okay. Was it Lebanon? Maybe
no.
Not. Okay.
No, right. It's a rather small story.
Okay.
In business, I'll remember.
Let's get Roland. Roland, you said you wanted to talk about the
the coronavirus alleviation program business support scheme, and this also is part of the whole initiative of government to make sure that businesses had access to finance. And before I do that, though, I also wanted to comment on this because at the beginning of the show, I did indicate that this is the third day running that here on the show, we're treating the subject of the indiscipline that we've seen among the senior high school students who are writing the WASSCE. I think after the first day, when we did that and we took the views from those stakeholders, we're talking Kofi Asare, and then also Peter Anti, the inclination we got from others was that, oh, this is just out of the blue, sporadic. But it looks like now it's getting the attention of the students. And it is...
what, like students in other schools?
Yes, in other schools. Look, yesterday I listened to Professor Opoku Amankwa, and I think that he just was very right about what he said. He said this is pure indiscipline on the part of the students. And I think that we have seen in this country in which the policies and the way the policies are implemented at the top are very good. But when it comes to doing the monitoring and the supervision down there, then we're having difficulty. So the question we have to ask ourselves, why have we seen this? Is it because the supervision, the administration of the students at the schools is now lax, is facing some difficulties? I think the actions that sometimes the official don't take sends some either positive or negative signals to the students. Look, the students need to be disciplined, but we have to take a look at the mindset of the current generation and how they are very much receptive of what sort of discipline that they want to undertake. And I think that we need to do this by making sure that, one, we also get their views on many other related disciplinary action that needs to be taken on them. Two, we also need to make sure that when we say we're disciplining them, we communicate to the public so that when actions are taken, we don't go back and try to victimize the school administrators. And i.e., I'm referring to incidents in which as a teacher or the assistant headmaster of a school seemed to have locked students, and in his mind, he thought that was discipline. So we need also to do that sort of communication. Three, we need to involve parents in this. Because if the parents of these students are involved, they know that my child who is in school is under a certain regime. And when an action or inaction is taken by the school administrator, it is because I have the consent of that teacher to be able to undertake that. And I think that will lay out the structure by which we want our students to be disciplined. I mean,
You're saying boils down to the research that I'm talking about, because I think if we don't research, talk to these students and talk to, the key stakeholders involved in all of this, we might end up acting on assumptions. And acting on assumptions may not be in our best interest. I think we need to do this research, and all the things you've laid out, we tackle them one after the other. And I've talked about the power relations. We know there were times when you are even afraid to tell your teacher, to even ask questions in class. That is your typical Ghanaian classroom setup, which is what this particular government has said that they want to try and change. So is it the change that they've introduced that's, encouraging young people to ask more questions and be more bold and be bolder and to come out, more, that's creating this problem? Or is it the discipline thing that Roland, as you say, like the things that you've listed? I think it will be better off if we did a proper research. GES does a proper research to address all of the areas you've
set up a committee to look into all the issues that have come up and why they have come up. There's also the Bright issue, and I want to pick it from myjawline.com. So let's just take you to myjawline.com. You see the Bright Senior High School, where things have turned very different, well, similar, but it looks like with this case, even the school authorities are involved. And I guess that just from what we've heard, there are instances where the school authorities themselves instigate some of these things. They may have communicated something different or said something different to the children, so they are expecting something else, not what they see in the exam. Because in an exam, it doesn't matter where they ask you to sit. Because you're working independently, and it doesn't matter if the next person is like from here to Bolga. You shouldn't care about it. Just sit and write your paper, whatever you think you can remember and write, and then you move on. But we've seen all these things happen. Let's take you to myjawline.com. Let's run you through the story that we've been talking about, obviously, here. This is the call from Nagrat: arrest students who assault teachers during WASSCE, one of the many organizations that we've seen talking against what the disturbances that we've seen, which started off well with videos with students unhappy because of the integrated science paper and the fact that they thought the passport that had been given to them by the states was going to appear and they didn't see. And then before we know, no, things have just, with a graphic reporter being assaulted yesterday as well. And then the head teacher asking the students not to write the exam. I mean, this exam is under the control of WAEC. I don't see how a head of a school can say, don't write the exam, that kind of thing. All right, so plenty of stories, including this one.
I didn't get to talk about Magdan.
Oh, you didn't get to talk. Yeah. You talk about Magdan.
And he's endorsing this coronavirus alleviation program business support scheme. 2 billion has been set up. It will be given to banks. Logically, that's how it's done. Then you go to Access, and I think small startups will need to benefit from this. But before they benefit, they need to have their books or their structures right, so that whatever it is that they collect, they're able to pay back. We have had a situation where, in my estimation, I think the first one that we disbursed, giving 1,000, 2,000, and 3,000 or whatever to hairdressers, etc., how we were going to collect that back, I don't know how that was going to be possible or is going to be possible. So we have to target the businesses that we think would have good return on this money that we're going to give them. And I think that Magdan supporting this is a very good thing, because he's a businessman who has great acumen and experience in this. And ultimately, we're going to have some good returns on this investment.
Okay.
If I can, I think I just quickly remembered what I wanted to comment on. It has to do with the sort of violence we saw with the last day of the registration. I didn't see a lot of that in the newspapers, but I wanted to just mention that briefly. I'm amazed at how this seemed to have gone on well, apart from Manda and some of the Volta region areas in the Volta region that we've recorded some incidents. I think that last day, I mean, I was really not monitoring the news, but I've seen so many, attacks or stories of attacks here and there. And I'm wondering, I just thought that we should mention it and, as part of our conversations, get people sensitized about just doing the right thing and being civil. We've just ended it. Just be civil, Yeah.
All right, great. So this is all time will allow us. When we come back from sports, we'll give you an update on coronavirus. We'll tell you the Ghana situation and Africa, and why Ghana is part of those countries in Africa that you know, it is said that they have to keep an eye on Ghana and Nigeria. We'll give you an update on that situation. And then, of course, we'll come back and talk about what is unfolding in some of the schools with the ongoing examination. Right now, though, we have to make way for sports. There's Champions League later today, and Gareth Bale is in the headlines. Has he just refused to play, or he says he will not travel if they don't put him on the pitch? Something is happening with Real Madrid. That's all coming up in sports. Akwesi Dankwa Benedict is up next. So it's a creeping canker that is gradually spreading across the country. And I'm talking about final year senior high school students who are clashing with school authorities and WASSCE officials over measures put in place to ensure they do not cheat in examinations. Last week, students of the Chonebo Akodia Senior High School protested the invigilation of their headmaster because they claim he was too strict. Then remember, there was the Tamale Senior High School, in Deura Jakpa Senior High School, and also Ekumfi Ameyal Senior High School. My colleague Matilda Gavi brings you a compilation of the clashes.
Nana, then you make we solve this book from cover to cover. English, already, everything.
There has been widespread condemnation of the actions by students at the Chonebo Akodia Senior High School in the Ashanti region. At the moment, a 3-member investigative committee is looking into this matter.
Without being judgmental, I don't think the students have that right. We don't solve our problems through violence. So if they have any grievance, we have to channel it through the right processes rather than to vandalize government property unduly.
These students were the first to have started a commotion since the commencement of the 2020 West Africa Senior Secondary Certificate Examination. Despite the condemnation and growing concern about discipline among these students, it appears their actions have given courage to other students to follow suit. The latest being students of Ndoro Jakpa Senior High Technical School in Dalmango in the West Gonja municipality. They vandalized school properties in protest of the 1.5-meter social distancing sitting arrangement in the examination hall. The students first turned off the light on campus and carried out their deeds under the cover of darkness. Parts of the ceiling of a new 6-unit classroom block that was recently handed over to the school were removed. The louver blades of the school administration were also destroyed. Their actions have already been condemned by the chairman of the West Gonja Municipal Security Council, Said Mohasa Jibril, and the Savannah Regional Minister, Salifu Adam Brima, who rushed to the school on Wednesday night.
4 minutes after 8, that the headmaster gave me a call that the students were going on a demonstration, and that if I can get the military, the police here to quell the situation. But fortunately, I came here earlier to wait for the police. And what I saw, the students actually went on a demonstration and destroyed a lot of school property. That's because the school invigilators are so strict on them. And because of the COVID-19 protocols, you know, usually the spacing has to be at least 1 meter to 1.5 meter. And so they think that that is not very good for them. And so the school should relax the invigilation so that they can easily cheat. Even my own regional minister hearing it couldn't sleep. He has to come and join us here to make sure that the situation is brought under control. The boys have all run out of campus as we speak. We met with the girls, and so the girls are currently in their dormitory.
Also in the northern region, an examination officer of the Tamale Senior High School, Alex Na, is seeking protection for his family following attempts by some students to attack him. His crime was that he did not allow the student to engage in any examination malpractice during their integrated science paper. About 100 final year students mobilized to attack him on Tuesday night, but he was rescued by school authorities.
There's some Irish students of Tamale Senior High School came to attack, they moved to come and attack me, the exam officer of the school, in my house. just that unfortunately they were stopped on their way to the house by the senior housemaster and other senior members of the school. So they were spoken to and then they moved back. After which the headmaster also came and spoke to them. Then the senior housemaster and his team went and reported the matter to the police, and therefore we were provided with police patrol. About 4 vehicles came around and patrolled there around my house within the area there, and this morning.
Do you know why they wanted to attack you?
Oh, the only reason is simple. Their point was that I did not allow them to cheat or to be engaged in more during the exam.
Meanwhile, Joy News is learning that some students of Ikumfi Ameyao Senior High School are threatening to protest against an external invigilator whose presence at the exam center, according to them, is serving as a form of intimidation. Are we likely to be seeing more of these cases, and how do we nib it in the bud?
So just following from the question posed by my colleague Matilda Gavi, yes, and we've seen more. Students of Bright Senior High School at Kokuruntumi in the Eastern Region on Thursday also attacked officials of the West African Examination Council supervising the ongoing WASSCE examination in their school. A journalist with the Daily Graphic in the region who had gone to the school to report was also brutally assaulted by a student, leaving him with severe injuries. Some WAEC officials present alleged their phones were smashed as they were also assaulted.
To enter, and I told him, look, my boss says no unauthorized persons inside. So he got pissed. He called his guys to come around the gate. Then I turned to watch the school. So before I realized, he shouted at the students, they should all stop writing their exams, calm down and attack us. So all the students stopped, they came down and they attacked. So while they were attacking, was videoing myself and my colleagues. So he told the students to take our phones, because he didn't want them to have any evidence of they attacking us. So that was what happened. So I was able to escape with my colleague with the cat, and he had some bruises on his hand. So that's exactly what happened.
Are you really disturbed about this particular incident?
Of course, it was my life. Like, for an instance, you think you've lost it all, because these kids were normally about 502 guys. You can imagine what you are going through. Like, I'm really disturbed. If not for God, maybe you would have been dead, and all they will say is more injustice. They killed 2 guys and that's it. We just go to rest, but it's not cool. It's really not cool. Under these circumstances, because it's a part of their future, okay? You can't stop them from writing an exam just because this happened, but maybe the security should be tighter, not so much that it will intimidate them, you see, but at least they should be allowed to continue with the exam.
What about the authorities of the school?
I think the Lord should take its course, that's all.
Okay. Your name?
My name is Jerry Alfredo Kane.
Oh no. Yes, calling. He started calling Accra. I have a but you advert, no.
He wasn't around, so it's the deputy that I spoke to.
Okay. We'll bring it to the front page tomorrow.
Well, we have to apologize for that lost in sound there, but what the person you saw in your shot is that reporter from the Daily Graphic who was assaulted in the process at Bright Senior High School. Calm was restored only after the police were called in. The agitated students, realizing the police had left, attacked Emmanuel Pacom, the reporter that we showed to you. from Graphic when he was spotted filming the incident. That's the narration that he's been given to us. He's since lodged a complaint with the Kokrantumi police station and has been issued with a medical form. Well, to go through the process to get a hospital to actually state exactly what is what the assault or what the beatings has resulted in. So we'll certainly keep you updated on this matter. But these were young people, students who are supposed to be writing exams, who allegedly beat this reporter up. So it's not over. We can't tell what's happening today, but we're going to be having conversations on the back of what is happening. That's what we've been doing really this week, and we thought it was over, at least yesterday when we were talking about indiscipline and rights, because some people seem to believe that it's because these young people have been empowered so much and that school authorities can't do anything to them. There's a statement that's been issued by the Ghana Education Service. We're just taking a short breather. We'll come back and share that statement with you and continue with this conversation. So back on the issue with students rioting, student rampaging, students causing distraction, and students having a say as to how they should sit in an exam hall. We've been dealing with this matter for 3 days now. We thought it was going to stop. Apparently not. We want to hear from you. So we're going to put our Zoom ID on the screens. If you want to join us in this conversation, you're free to do so. But let's bring to you the statement that's been issued by the Ghana Education Service, signed by the Director General himself, who's been very strong and straightforward with the actions that they intend to take following what we have seen in some of the schools. And the statement reads, management of Ghana Education Service is appalled by scenes of videos making rounds showing some students who are not only demonstrating crass indiscipline, but also making unfortunate comments about high-profile personalities, including His Excellency, the President of the Republic, apparently from the frustrations over the fallout from their first written paper, Integrated Science. Management of GES has also received reports of instances of some staff involved in unprofessional conduct. Management wishes to make it clear that school rules and regulations, in particular those involving the conduct of examinations, have not been suspended in any form. Therefore, any student established to have misconducted themselves in any of the discipline acts should be deboardized and be allowed to commute from home to write the exams under parental control. So that's one of the measures contained in the statement. It goes on to say any distraction of school property will be surcharged against the corporates established to be involved. Instances where criminal acts have been committed should be reported to the police for investigations. Directors have been directed to take action on all such misconducts and submit report to the Director General immediately. Management of GES wishes to assure all school authorities that it stands with them in ensuring strict maintenance of discipline at all times. School authorities should equally ensure that the rules governing the examinations are not flouted in any form. Management of GES again wishes to caution the general public, especially parents, that in its effort to maintain discipline in the schools, pleas for mitigation will not be tolerated, and therefore encourages all parents to advise their wards to maintain high sense of discipline and comportments. Ghana needs educated and disciplined citizens in its forward march to development, and that no student is above the law, and that whatever it takes to maintain discipline in the schools will be done, including possible withdrawal of students from the schools and the examination centers. Management of GES, it concludes, wishes to assure all law-abiding students to go about their normal studies and activities and know that the authorities will support them to go through the examinations successfully. And as indicated, this was signed by the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Professor Kwesi Opoku Amankwa. So straight away, if you look at the statement, it says that students who have been involved in this, who have misconducted themselves in any of the indiscipline acts will be deboardized. So that's one of the measures. And then if you took part and you destroyed school property, you will be surcharged. If you are involved in any criminal acts, that piece of act will be reported to the police, who will subsequently investigate. And of course, if it's found that you had something to do with it, the law would take its course. This is actually in line with a call by NAGRATS, that's the National Association of Graduate Teachers, who are also calling that those who have threatened teachers should be dealt with. So this is what we have seen. This is the action that has followed, with the Ghana Education Service issuing this statement. But did you ever think that this was going to happen? Did you think that we were going to get here? Remember that when schools were reopened, especially when final year students were asked to go back to school to write the exams, there were a lot of people who were worried about COVID-19. There was no idea that there would be this level of indiscipline, even with an examination. We've heard NATS, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, say that, well, in the past, they've seen forms of indiscipline, but not to this extent. This somehow seemed to have gotten out of hand. Now, what are your own observations and comments? How can we deal with this going forward? What do you think about the actions that the Ghana Education Service has outlined in the statement that if they've issued? Join the conversation right now. The Zoom ID is on your screen. If you want to have a say, this is the time to do so. We've decided to bring the conversation to you after speaking to so many experts here on the AM show. So we encourage viewers to join on Zoom to share their views as parents, guardians, or siblings. Let me say hello and welcome to our friends who have joined us.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So I may not see your names. I'm going to identify by the phones that you're using possibly, and then when I call you, please introduce yourself. So can I go to Techno?
I may not see your names. I'm going to identify by the phones that you're using possibly, and then.
Okay, and then sorry, but you also have to turn down the volume on your television set so we don't get the feedback that we got a while ago. So the person identified with the Technophone, can you just mention your name and go ahead? Techno Sack. Spark. Techno Spark.
Okay, very good morning.
Good morning. Please tell us your name.
My name is Robert. My name is Robert. I'm speaking from the Volta region.
Great. Let's hear your thoughts.
All right. You see, what we see going on throughout our senior high schools across the country is all about the policies that the government put in place. It's all about protecting the students against the teachers. Mamavi, could you imagine that students will tell you that government says they shouldn't punish them when they misbehave? And so what can you do as the teacher? Because the student knows that the policies are there to protect them. And so when they even misbehave, how to punish them becomes a problem. Some of them will threaten you that when you punish them, they'll report you to any government official, and if you don't take time, your job will be at risk. So it's all about the policies that are put in place, protecting the students all the time against the teachers. So I think this is a call that they should really look at the policies again. When yes, they should really look at the policies. When punishment are put in place in our various second cycle institutions, we will see a lot of change. We'll see a lot of change.
Okay.
So thank you.
Let me come to Mohammed a while. Mohammed, what are your thoughts? Your reaction to what we've seen happen?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. For me, I see it as an indiscipline act from our students. Being also a teacher who teaches in one of the senior high schools, it's not all the students. Some of the students are very good, but some of them too I would say it's coming from their home. Like they don't have good parental care, and they don't also have good behaviors that they put in public. That's why they do what they do. But some of the videos, I see them as trying to make fun. But later on, they got to know that they have gone too far. But the sad aspect about it is, with our union leaders and the rest, especially the NAGRAT president, when yesterday he was speaking on Asempa FM, trying to put all the blames on the government for trying to help these students. Being a student once before, we know the difficult that we pass through. But if the government is trying its best to help these students so that they will have it very easy for them to have their education, the blame shouldn't go to the government, but rather it should be what? Commendation, and we should also call on the authorities, which are the teachers, the head and the rest, to also take another extra careful in order to put these students in their right track, not to put the blame on the government. Trying to put everything on the government will take away the responsibility from the parents, from the teachers, from the heads of the school and the rest. So for me, I see it as an indisciplined one. Two, I see it as a weakening call to the parents, the teachers, and the authorities, so that we'll see what to do, so that next time this thing will not happen again. But for the government, what will the government do? The government is there to provide for its citizens. So if the government has provided everything for its students, in order for them to do well, we shouldn't condemn the government, or we shouldn't say anything which to go against the government. For me, I believe one is attitude, two is how we normally bring our children up, the parenting that we give to our children, and three, we also have to take another extra careful in disciplining our students. So
all right.
For me, that's me.
Okay, Mohammed Awal, thank you very much for your thoughts. Let me come to you, Daniel. Good morning, Daniel. Okay, let me come to you, Tony. Good morning, Tony. Hi there, Tony.
Hello.
Yes, is that Tony?
Yes, please.
Okay, Tony, tell us where you're reaching us from, and then go ahead with your comments.
I'm reaching you from Accra here.
Okay.
My contribution is that I think what is happening, it's very unfortunate. The students these days, they are not prepared to learn. So the very first time they started they gave out questions to them to prepare for the exam. I don't know how the questions were given, but if it was handed over to them as individuals.
Good morning.
Quality.
I think they should
Okay, Daniel, if it is you, kindly hold on. Let's get Tony to finish his submissions, and then you can come in. Okay, Tony, go ahead.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. What I am saying is that if the questions were handed over to them as maybe individually, students, the perception will be that, probably this is something that is supposed to assist us to answer our questions, or our final year questions, exam questions are likely to come from this. And once they didn't find that, then they thought somebody somewhere deceived them. The other thing I want to also talk about is that I think we are playing a lot of politics with our educational system these days. Yes, it is good to have free HSS. It is good to make sure our younger ones get good and quality education. But it shouldn't be made. They shouldn't be made to understand that, we are doing this for you because we know you are our students, and we started with you, and we'll do anything at all for you to pass the exams. If you let them have that mentality, then it means they are going to go into sleep. They will sleep and then expect everybody they will expect that, you do anything at all for them to pass. That is what they are thinking. Because I think the messages that politicians give to the students are making them feel that, oh, once we have brought free HSS, and once you are going through it, then it means you are supposed to pass your exams. We'll do anything at all for you to pass. I think that is what is making...
But that's not what they told them. I mean, if you're talking about the past questions, I think the only difference now is the fact that they give each of them a set of past questions. But we know what past questions are supposed to be used for.
You know, students are students. These ones are not too mature. Once you give them past questions, the way some of them will perceive it will be that, oh, we have been aided to go through this.
Okay. So
I think that is the mentality some of them have.
Okay, great. So just hold your thoughts there. You think that the past question may have contributed to what we are seeing?
Yes.
Tony, no, I think is it Daniel? Daniel, you wanted to say something.
Yeah.
Do you agree that the past questions may have brought us to where we are today?
Mamavi, I don't think the past question brought this thing, because whatever thing that is happening, the students should be happy for the government compiling past question for them. Because our time in school, you find it difficult to even locate one past question. You have to go around looking for past questions from friends, colleagues, your seniors that have completed. But this time, the past question has been compiled for you in one document, which should help you. The worst one is Chief Examiner's report is even attached to it. That should guide you as to how to answer questions so that you will pass. Mama, you see, if parents were to be paying school fees and students were to suffer and pay their own fees, I don't think they will go around fooling this way they are fooling. Because when you suffer before you pay your fees and even your registration fee, you know that you have a target to achieve, and you know this way.
Okay.
Because one, the government is trying to make this badge so special because they are the first batch that is going to complete free senior high school. It's in their mind, and it is pushing them that, oh, we are going to be the first batch, so government should do everything possible. They've forgotten that when they complete and they are going to further their education, the government will not come there and come and pay their fees for them. And now when you fill a paper and you want to write in of deck, you're going to pay huge sum of money to register.
Okay.
So they should be thankful to the government for this great thing they've done for them.
Points well made.
They should be dealt with. They should be dealt with.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Tony. Let's see if I can get a word from Gbeda. I hope I got your name right. Okay. So, Tony, go ahead.
Yes, what I want to say is that I am not against the past questions. What I think is that the questions should have been handed to the schools, maybe put them in the library or where they can easily access the questions, instead of handing questions to them individually. Yes, they could have been put in the library where each and everybody will get access to. Because see the video where somebody is flipping through, nothing came. Just opening as if maybe they told the person that something is going to come from the past questions that they gave them.
All right. I get
that's the mentality some of them have.
Okay. All right. Let's hear from you, Kojo. Good morning. Hello, Kojo. Okay, let's go to Gbeda because Kojo doesn't seem to hear me. Gbeda, you're back. Just unmute yourself and say hello to me.
Yeah, hello.
I heard your good morning. Gbeda, where are you joining us from?
I think the issue of giving students past questions is not a bad deal. But questions are given to students just to prepare them. And then that's all we have all been doing. After learning, you take your past question and then you get to know the questions that may be coming. Then all this attitude is just about the students being backed by the so-called child rights. That the law even backed the students more than the teacher. That is it. So I think the law should be applied.
Okay.
That's my view.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Kojo. You're going back to an issue that we raised on this show with the whole child rights issue. But I thought it was clear. I mean, child right doesn't mean indiscipline. They're two different things. But thank you for contributing. And there seemed to be some kind of delay. Hopefully you can hear me now. Maybe we have a better connection with you. Yes. Okay, so whoever is speaking, please introduce yourself, okay, and go ahead.
Mama V, this is Daniel again.
Okay, Daniel.
Mama V, what is going on? Yesterday, I watched the show when the child right activist spoke. He said every right comes with a responsibility.
Absolutely.
And in our school now, all our attention is focused on examination. So at the end of the day, when the child finishes school, you see that the 8 years that the child will be in school, 2 years will be for education. The rest are chaffed. When you're able to complete SHS, you should be doing something on your own. At least you should be able to impact into the community that you are coming from. But whatever thing we learn here doesn't go down well with us. Because one, now the discipline aspect is taken from our schools because GES and the policymakers are saying, don't discipline the child to this extent. Can you imagine in our basic school, this time, policymakers are saying, don't even ask the child to kneel down when the child is falling in the classroom. Mama V. Don't even punish the child when the child is falling in the classroom. In this case, when the child goes to the house, the parents talk to this child in open, insult teachers in open. When the child comes to the school, he or she does whatever pleases him or her.
But Daniel, you said you're a teacher. System. You're a teacher, right?
Yes, madam.
Okay, so what level? I just want to understand what happens in the classroom with your structure. What happens if a student either insults or misconducts him or herself? There must be some sort of procedure.
I teach at a private school, and when the child insults or misbehaves in the classroom, when you punish the child, the proprietors take you on to the extent that they even deduct your salary, part of your salary, the peanuts that they are giving us, they even deduct some of them. So it costs teachers to look to the children when they fool or not. You know that, oh, it is not my duty to correct them. But deep within you, you have to correct that child to do the best thing.
Okay.
When you try going extra mile, the proprietors have issues with you.
Okay, I'll come back to you and ask if we can talk to them instead of knocking their heads or caning them or using any of those traditional forms of punishment. But let me come to you, Dr. Say. Good morning and welcome to the conversation. Okay, I think we lost you there. Before I go back to Daniel, is there somebody else who hasn't said a word but who can hear me?
Yes, Mama V.
Yes, sir. What's your name, please?
It's Mawina.
Mawina. Okay, let's hear you, Mawina.
Yes. I have an issue with the current portfolio. Can you hear me?
Mawina, can you hold your thoughts there for me, okay? Can I please ask that you turn down the volume on your television set so we don't get feedbacks and we can hear ourselves when we talk? So please kindly turn down the volume on your television set. Please turn down the volume on your television set for me so we can have a very fruitful conversation. Back to you, Mawina.
Turn down the volume on your television set. Please turn down the volume on your television set for me. So...
Mawina, if you can hear me.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Please, Emmanuel.
All right, Emmanuel, let's...
Reaching you from Winneba. Currently, the issues that we are having in our senior high school, one thing that we should look at is over-politicalization of the education system. Anytime you try to politicize education system, this is what you see. No, senior high school is for now.
Okay, we're getting some feedback. I don't know who exactly, but yes, go ahead. Kindly finish your thoughts.
Yeah, if you politicize the senior high school, that, and then the kids themselves now know that they have given us past question. I remember I was teaching some senior high school students for classes. Anytime I open the book to teach them, what they tell me is that they have given us this past question from 2013 to 2019, and they are telling us that that's what will come. So I should solve the past questions with them. You get it? So past questions are meant to maybe to give to students at maybe 1 month or some weeks to the final examination so that they can revise it. But now we gave it to them at a very early age or very early time, and they concentrated on the past questions, thinking that that is what will come. So if they went to the examination hall and it is not that one which is in, what happens? That is why they're behaving that way. So the over-politicalization of a senior high school should be looked into.
Okay, all right.
Hello?
So you say political. Yeah.
Hello, good morning, Mama V.
Hi, good morning. So I'm hearing about three of you at the same time.
I'm Nelson. I'm Nelson.
Nelson. Okay, let's listen to Nelson. Okay, Nelson, go ahead.
I am a teacher myself, and I teach in secondary school.
Okay.
Now, problem coming right now, I will blame my teachers for this problem. Now, students complaining about this strict invigilation. It's not because they felt like the teachers didn't allow them to do that. Now, some of the teachers took money from the students with the aim of helping them by the WASSCE. So now, and in the course of sharing the money, some of the teachers decided to keep the money to themselves and leaving others. And those who didn't get the money are those being strict in the exams hall. So, Mama V, if you're a student and this thing happens, what will you do? Again, with the past question thing that we're talking about, the government didn't give the past questions to the children, telling them the past questions will come. No, it was the same teachers who went to the class, told the kids, "Oh, you people are the first batch of free SHS, and maybe because of the past questions they've given to you, you guys are to concentrate on the past questions, and the questions will be coming from there." So the teachers should be blamed. The teachers should be blamed. You should stop politicizing this issue that the government made a mistake. Teachers should be blamed with all this chaos going on. So
teachers, you are saying teachers should be blamed, okay, from the perspective where you're coming from. Let's see who else we can talk to.
Good morning, I'm Zaid. Hello. I should go here.
Hello.
Okay, so we want to hear you one at a time, okay? I heard a female voice. Can we listen to the woman? I think this is the first woman who's joined us.
If we let everybody speak, that's what happened in Amavi. So if it can be calling in one by one, that would be better.
Yes, exactly. So let's hear the woman speak.
Okay, since the woman is not speaking, Mama V, can I come in?
Okay, now you're using hardcore to get me. Okay, please come in.
Can I speak?
Wait, hang on. What's your name, please?
My name is Ashikwe, Mama V.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay.
Hello, Mama V. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, just hold your thoughts for me. Let's go to Ashikwe. I'll come back to you. The only female we have.
Okay. So, Mama V, what I think the issue actually is this. Educating a child has to be a decision by parents and any authorities and society at large. What we have now is a system where the parents are indirectly cut from the decisions that are taken in school. Why am I saying that? Now, there is nothing like a PTA. It is a parents' association. less the teachers. I happen to be a PTA chairman of my nephew's school. Decisions taken is without the input of the teachers. How do you build a system where there is no consensus? How do you build a system where there is no collaborative efforts to train the child? If that happens, especially in a situation where the child is aware that largely his fees are paid by a system, what the child does is that he's aligned to the system. And that same system is asking the children, is asking the authorities not to punish the kids in a certain way. The kids learn a certain life. This has nothing to do with exams. This has nothing to do with politics. It has a lot to do with an issue of discipline and societal education of a child. That is my position.
Okay, so Mr. Quay, I just wanted a follow-up. So who is failing us? How do we fix this? You seem to have analyzed it beautifully, but how do we fix it?
How we fix this is for government to ask parents to make input, even though government is paying the bills. Okay. Otherwise, government should stop paying the bills entirely for the parents. A lot of the parents have what it takes to take care of their kids. Okay. If government wouldn't want parents to make input, then government should stop paying the fees.
Okay, Mr. Quay, well said. Thank you very much. Can we hear the only? Can we hear the only female? You said hello earlier.
Hello, Mama V. Hello.
Yes, hi. I can hear you. Kindly introduce yourself.
Okay, I am Danso from Ajumako in Yanisiam constituency. Yeah, and yesterday I watched the video, and when I saw the video, I was very, very sad. I was extremely sad. Why was I sad? You see, things are changing, and this tells us that very soon, if care is not taken, the kind of graduates or the kind of people we are going to produce as a nation will be nation wreckers. Why do I say that? Because you see, this thing, the reactions of the children, how they behave towards even the president, insulting the president. I was like, parents, what are we teaching our kids? What are we impacting into our kids? Gone were the days. Me, I used to be very stubborn in school. There was a day my teacher punished me, and I came home and I came to report it to my father. Oh, I was thinking that my father will follow me to the school, then go and tell the teacher his mind. But to my surprise, when it got to the night, my father woke me up. He lashed me to the point that I even regretted reporting that incident to him. And from that time, I never misbehaved in class again, because I knew that. And the thing that pained me most was that my father came to the school, came to tell the teacher that if I misbehave again, he should beat me to death. So such a disciplinarian father like this, can I misbehave in school again? No. You see, the parents, we are losing our work. We are neglecting the children.
Mama, I totally disagree.
Listen.
I totally disagree.
I'm not done.
Mama, can I come in?
Hold your thoughts there.
Where I totally disagree. Where I disagree with him.
Okay, can I ask all of you? Can we take the sound off? I want to tell all of you to hold your thoughts there. Please hold your thoughts. Nobody can hear you because you're off air. Can I hear from Jessica though? Jessica, if you heard your name, can you go ahead? Hello, Jessica. Hello, Jessica.
Mama V, Jessica is not
okay. Okay, wait. But I thought you finished, or you didn't land. Let me give you 30 seconds to land. Yeah. I thought you had finished. Please wrap up.
Mama V, this thing that is happening, the parents have to set up. The government also have to set up, and we should ignore the politicians. You see,
Mama V, call me.
try to score political points with this. But those politicians trying to score political points with this, you know that if they don't condemn this act and they try to score political points, a time will come these same children will rise up against them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Prince Tufor. Prince Tufor, can we hear you?
Of this is very serious.
Hello.
Is this Prince Tufor?
Hello.
If I can't hear Prince,
Hello,
can I hear from Anita? Anita, can you hear me?
Hello.
Can I speak? This
Anita, please unmute and speak.
Hello.
Is this Anita?
No, Anita is not speaking. Can I speak?
Okay, can I have my director give me a name, please?
Ali. From
Anita, please unmute and speak.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, let me speak to Anthony Yeboah. That's the next name that I have. Please hold on for me. When you hear your name, then you speak for me. Otherwise, it will be very chaotic. Anthony Yeboah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, Mavi. Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Hello. Good morning, Mavi.
Anthony, is that you?
Hello. Good morning, Mavi.
Good morning. Please go ahead.
Yes, please. Good morning, Mavi.
Okay, I think we seem to have a problem.
I'll say the indiscipline in our schools is I think the indiscipline in our school is due to the rules and regulations that are favoring students nowadays.
Okay, let's go to Bernard. It looks like that.
Hello.
Hello, Bernard. Is this Bernard?
Banini.
Hello?
Hello.
Is this Bernard? Am I speaking to Bernard?
No.
Okay, what's your name, please?
Banini Francis.
Okay, Francis, go ahead.
Mama, the issue at hand have nothing to do about what my brother is saying pertaining to a student being exalting a president now. Let's take the issue from two perspectives. The perception of giving the past question to the student. That is one angle. Second, what is the brain behind the student after giving the past question to them? Because you can recall, my brother make a serious analysis that it is confusing aspects, that is bringing in politics later. Looking at the issue at hand, everybody normally bypass question from a bookseller or book ventures. How come this year a past question be given to students? I'm a teacher. All of us have ever been a student before. So you as students with that new minute mind, you being given a past question, the implication is automatically there is something coming from that past question. That is why the question is being given to me. So the misconception here is the students were not aware, or the mentality of the student are not clear about whether the past question is for them to study or the question is coming from dito. That is where the problem is starting from.
Okay. All right.
Because yesterday during your video, some are saying they paid 2,000 Ghana cedi. Others are saying 10,000, this and this. You can see that meaning there is something behind it. So I will beg my colleague, we should analyze by putting that teachers are doing this and the rest. I said, my brother said the discipline level of what he's saying, during his time, they beat her or they have ever caned him before. But this time, they say no cane. In Ghana, our culture says we should discipline the student. What are we using to discipline the student? Is the cane that they used to discipline us. So now no more cane.
Okay, so the absence of the cane is also contributing to this. I see that a point that you're trying to make.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Please mention your.
This is my number.
Huawei E30. That's the phone that you're using.
This is my winner.
I will leave.
Hello, Mama.
The gentleman in the white shirt up there. Oh, okay. I think you down there. You've raised your hands.
Mama,
please introduce yourself.
This is my winner.
Hello, Mama.
Yes.
Hello, Mama.
Hello.
Please, good morning.
Good morning, Mama V.
Good morning to all of
Hello.
you. I want the gentleman in the white down. Can I get the phone again?
Hello. My name is
Huawei
P30
P30 Lights. Go ahead, yes.
Thanks for having me this morning. I think you just this morning, I want to elaborate on the level of indiscipline that we have in our society. Even just this morning, you just gave a simple instruction that we should all keep quiet and that our names will be mentioned so that we speak. But then you could see that we were just, everybody was speaking without following simple instructions. So I think the problem we have is the kind of society that we are trying to build in our nation. The level of impunity, the level of indiscipline in our society. We glorify impunity in this country and indiscipline in this country as elderly people, mostly politicians, they come on television and use a very against them so that we are. And these children look up to us. They look up to parents. You understand? So the kind of society that we are building is also encouraging these children to go out there and do some of these things. And I think the giving out of the past question, I think government did well. I think what government should have done, they should have channeled it through the is it NAT or something, so that the teachers will have the past question and the teachers will, go through with the student rather than handing it over to the student themselves, and that at the end of the day they think that, okay, we have a past person. I don't know the kind of promises that were given to the students. So I think we should look at all these things, and then we'll have a better nation to build.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. At this point, though, it's impossible to speak to all of you on this subject because we're bringing another leg of this conversation. We're taking you on roving, my colleague Nancy Emefa Jiradosi, with a number of students that she's engaged in this morning on the same subject. Over to you, Nancy. Who do you have with you?
Well, Mama V, good morning. I'm at the University of Ghana. I'm seated by two of the university students and one past student of the University of Ghana, simply to talk about this issue of APO, that's properly known, the examination malpractices that has characterized this year's WASSCE examination. But I have with me, I only know one name, frankly speaking. I have Reward, and I also have Mike. And maybe I'll let you introduce yourself. So can you speak to the microphone for me?
So my name is Stella.
Stella, and you are a...
I'm also a University of Ghana student. I completed just this year.
Oh, congratulations. I'm sure that you've been through, you've written BEC, you've written WASSCE, you've written exams here at the University of Ghana. Exactly. I'm sure you've heard about APO.
Exactly, I have. You can't be in Ghana and not have heard of APO.
First of which SHS did you attend?
I went to Infantiman Girls.
Oh, Infantiman Girls. Tell me about APO. Was it something in Infantiman Girls?
Well, when you get to Infantiman Girls, they'll tell you that in this school you have to learn for yourself. You have to make the grades yourself. There's no one that will help you with any APO or anything. So once you are there, you have the mindset that there's nothing like that will come your way. But if even there's going to be anything, then you have to go look for it yourself. So, and then with even normal exams, the invigilation is very strict. So there was, well, speaking for myself, there was no instance that I'll say that there was a poor, we had the questions beforehand or anything like that.
But you had friends who relied on these materials. They'll pay money, and tell vigilators that, okay, so I heard that they are leaking some papers. They've asked us to pay some 5,000 Ghana cedis. You heard some of those.
Yeah, there were quite a number of them. Some people even come to say that, oh sisters, let's contribute, and then when it's time for exams, we'll get some of these things. But it'll come out that the people duped them or something, or the questions aren't real. So, I was never interested.
Wow, you were never interested. I'll come back to you and ask you about the details of that. But give it to Reward. From Reward, were you also at Infantiman?
I was at Ideal College.
Ideal College. I heard a lot of stories about them.
Yeah, there is a lot of stories about Ideal College.
Tell me about your experience at Ideal College.
My experience, well, I would say that in Ideal, actually, when you go, they actually do teach you. And yes, there's a notion that there is APO. But even if there is, it's not like it comes to you like, this is the question. So you'd still have to study in class. So if you do not pay attention in class, you might miss whatever it is that may come. Not saying that it actually does come, but people actually do rely on it a lot. And I remember WASSCE time, people from outside schools used to reach out to me that reward when it comes to them. I'm like, I don't know about anything. Like, oh no, it's Ideal College, you should have it. People definitely would have it. They would buy it for you. But personally, I didn't even see a question like, okay, this is the APO for 2015. I didn't see anything like that.
Wow. Is it that you were not interested, or one, you didn't have the money to pay for the APO?
Well, some of my mates, I actually heard some of them were contributing to get it.
Yes.
So yes, they actually did. Not like I didn't have the money, but I wasn't actually really interested, because in the end you'd have to go to class and then you'd be taught. Plus they were extra strict on us because everybody thinks we have the APO. So I remember even before our exams, they'd let us go to class and they make sure you do not bring a bag, a book or a pen or anything. So you go to the exams hall with just your pen to make sure that you do not take anything in. So it was very some way. And when I was getting to WASSCE time, they do not let outsiders enter the school. So you have to have your school ID to enter. So it was really tough and difficult. So I do not know if they actually really got it or something. But personally, I relied on my lecturers.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to share my experience because I'm the one doing the questioning. But let me come to Mike. Mike is a former student of the university. Mike, which school did you attend?
Presbyterian boys.
Which boys?
Presbyterian boys.
Presbyterian. Oh, Presec. Oh, I heard you guys there, like your book went, so you will not rely on APO, but I'm sure there are some of your friends who were interested. Tell me about those experiences.
Well, as for Presec, you are always prepared. So with APO or without APO, still, you still believe in yourself that you can write it.
Mike, are you telling me that there was not a day when somebody called you and said, Charlie, Mike, some APO they drop, or said, like, let's make you do some contribution, like 100 Ghana, 200, 500 cedis. Let's go and get the thing.
We all know the history of APO, so you can't really rely on it. Even though you want to get that 100%, you want to score that high marks, that's why you want to go in for APO. But then you can't tell me that you've been to school for 4 years, for 3 years, and the questions that have been set across that entire period, you are going to use that short period to answer all of them. I mean, APO is something that if it comes, everybody is happy, but then you should be prepared. I mean, it's not something that is really well. Yeah, nobody. As for Presec, we don't really rely on APO like that. Because the school itself, the administration don't promote that. Yeah. So I remember very well during our time, the school bought screening machines that we were screened before we entered the exams hall. Yeah, they did that. They didn't want to, I mean, show the image of the school. So right from the onset, you are asked to learn really hard, and the environment is really conducive for studies.
Sometimes the reason why people actually go in for APO is, for instance, if you are not good in a certain course. So for instance, I didn't have a good background with French. I didn't learn French, from primary school. So when I got to JHS and I was introduced to French, they were advanced. It was a new school. And I was like, oh God, I'm not going to write in this exams, JHS. And I didn't know anything. So at that point, if somebody says, oh, see, MFA, it's a done deal. Me, like, just bring 50 Ghana cedis. I'll tell you what is happening. So you go and learn, you go and shoot the J. Mapel, MFA, and the Tulave, and all of those things. You will be tempted to, you'll be tempted to go in for it. But maybe let me come to I've forgotten your name again. Stella. Was there a course, a subject that you were not so good in, that at a point you thought about it, that okay, maybe...
Oh, yes, there was.
Okay.
I won't even let you learn. It was elective maths. It was like I missed some time in school. I wasn't in school because I wasn't well. So when I came back, they had already like done quite a number of things. And math is like a build up on the previous things that you've done. Because of that, I found it so difficult.
Yeah.
Elective maths was a headache to me. So WASSCE time, I was super scared. Like I was super scared. So if anyone comes with any questions at all, that let's go through this. And I was also scared of going to the exam hall with any material.
Yeah.
As for that one, I didn't want to compromise. Yes. But if you come to me with anything at all, like a guide, a question, something, I would just go in for it. And I had the opportunity to solve a variety of questions. And I think it didn't actually drop, but you see WASSCE, the format is the same. So if even if it's past questions, you definitely have some like a question that looks like that. So I just applied what I had learned already, and when it came out, I done well. I was so happy.
I'm going to clap for you. My word. She talked about maths, and it took my mind back to the fact that maths, if you don't follow it, you get stopped. Maths is a subject that a lot of people even pray to get a D.
Yes.
They pray to, somebody, I know a friend who says, see God, let me just pass, just give me a pass and let me go. And so if there's any hint of a pop or anything that will help get that paper, he would want it. Did you ever face that?
Oh yes, like I fear maths, and it's so bad that, I mean, if I learn it, I'd understand. But say if we solve it this morning, by evening I would have forgotten what we did in the morning. So I needed constant practice. So we used to have tutorials. I used to go for every single tutorials, because I know even tomorrow if I come back in the lecture says I should resolve these questions, I can. So like everywhere I hear, oh, they are solving maths, I am there, because I was so scared. Plus I don't know if that is actually what is going to come. So I have to go and learn something small for myself. At least write it down so I can be reading through. I read through maths like I read through storybooks. So that yes, it's really bad. And then for science too, I really did not really know science like that. The periodic table, the iron and those things. I liked the biology part, but the physics,
the chemistry.
And the chemistry, I didn't
balancing the equation.
I cannot even do it now too. So for science and maths, I mean, whenever I hear they are solving science, they're solving maths, I am so there because I am scared. Yeah.
You know, we're talking about our poor ahead, but there's also examination malpractice in the exam hall. Have you ever been in an examination hall with your colleagues? You've been spaced out, yes. Those times, yeah, there was no social distancing, but there was social distancing in the halls at the time. Was there a time where, whilst you were writing, you forgot something, and then you needed your colleague to assist you? Did that ever happen to you?
A couple of times. It does happen. It does happen, but normally, sometimes, especially in those reading subjects, you have read so much, and all is not coming. You need someone to spark you with that little phrase to help you get on with it, and it's not coming. And sometimes I have to be sitting now, so it does happen.
Wow. Have you ever had to ask or do this? Oh, question one. I beg question one.
Yeah, we have always experienced that, but actually you have to do, to me, about 99% of the job.
Yeah.
Yes. For somebody to ask a friend, oh, can you help me with this one? That's cool. But for you to be asking every question is very, very annoying and very bad.
You know, like talking about this, talking about what you're saying brings me my mind to something. I remember there was this time I was in an exam hall, and I forgot how to spell the word watch. Automatically, I forgot how to spell the word watch. I had written like 6 versions of my spelling. I could just not, you know, it happens to you sometimes when you're tensed. Have you ever been in a hall that you desperately needed help? You needed a yes or no answer. So for instance, if it's a graph work and you wanted to know whether it was a positive curve or a negative curve, you needed to ask, oh please, is it positive or negative? You need an answer. Have you ever engaged in such an act? Don't be afraid. Your lecturers or your teachers are not watching.
Well, for me, I'll say that I'm the fear type. Like, I'm super scared. Like, if something happens, if I do something right now and something happens, my parents will hear about it. And my dad is very strict. I couldn't risk it. So, I don't know this thing. Sometimes, if there's enough time, I just rest. I remember social studies in SHS. I took a nap because the time was a lot, and it got to a point I had forgotten some of the things. I just took a nap. When I woke up, I was feeling so refreshed, and I continued. So asking someone, I really could not do it. And even if someone asked me, I'm very careful. I don't want any teacher at all to see me and come to question me or anything. So asking, I'll say maybe like if I'm able to gather the courage, then maybe I'll ask something little. But I think I have before in JHS, but in SHS, I just so I wouldn't even try. Sometimes even in the university, I think it was a maths paper. I was like, see, if I fail this paper, I have the opportunity to resit. I won't ask him. And in the University of Ghana, it's even worse because there are CCTVs around. Yeah. You can't risk it. And they said if you engage in any exam or practice, the university won't call you out right now. Like when it's time for you to graduate, that's when they'll call you out and then they'll give you all the details. So I so didn't want to risk it. I'm like, if I'm not able to do this thing, I have the opportunity to risk it. So I won't ask anyone.
Yeah. So let's wrap up this conversation. Okay, I'm going to take 30 seconds. Don't go, I'll be timing you. I know you reward. You've heard what our senior high school students are doing now. Yeah. Beating invigilators, insulting the president and all. What do you make of it? What should happen? Briefly.
Well, I think it is wrong in the first place. And for them to even come out boldly to say they need APOR and they want APOR and the questions are difficult, I mean, we don't do that. Having APOR is wrong in the first place. So being so bold enough to come and complain that you are not getting the APOR is something that is so wrong. I really do not know what sanctions can be meted out to them because it's not like it's just one person. It is a group of people, so many people. What can we possibly do to them? So I think social distancing can also not be ignored. And I can't say they should ask them to copy as well. So I think they should talk to them, maybe get them a psychologist to talk to them, let them understand that this is the situation right now. Maybe they were not prepared enough. So this is what it is. Psych yourselves and write the paper. What you're doing, it won't help in any way. Yeah.
Thank you. You have 20 seconds.
Well, I want to an advice to them that whatever you do right now will maybe come back to hit you in the future. Sometimes there are things that students do that teachers will never know about. There are things that we do that we think that, teachers will never know about. It is something that is there. No matter what you do, there will be a time that you may need help in the exams, but it doesn't give you the audacity to come out to boldly say that they are not allowing you to copy. So the president is like, it doesn't make sense anywhere. They should really stop. It doesn't make sense.
All right. Mike, I'm sure I know your answer already. You are from PESEG and you are against it.
Sure.
Yeah. So, this conversation has been interesting. I wish we had longer time to talk about it, but that's how we end our conversation here from the University of Ghana. We're seeking to reward Stella and Mike, but this is where we draw the curtains down on this conversation. We are taking a break. Roland Walker will be back, who will be engaging some fine gentlemen from Tobinco Pharmacy. Please stay tuned.
Well, we're in to talk health, and we're talking about Entrance Pharmaceuticals. They're one of the subsidiaries of the Tobinco Group. And if we're talking about Tobinco, they've been in the business for decades. And their experience, they always bring in to bear in what they do. And, well, Entrance Pharmaceutical has been doing some great work. They have a whole month dedicated not only to educate us on health, but also their products and services. I do have in the studio Christopher Mensah, Deputy Managing Director, Tobinco Pharmaceuticals, joining me. How are you?
Thank you very much.
And then my own Alahaji, even though he says he doesn't have the credentials to be called that title, Musa Abdullahi Sabun Kudi, and he is Marketing Manager for Prescriptions, Tobinco Pharmaceuticals. Thank you for joining me. And I would say that this is big, right? Having a whole month dedicated by Entrance Pharmaceuticals for what you want to do.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers and your listeners as well, and to the Tobinco family, especially our group chair, Elder Nanamo Tobin, and then the wife, Ms. Yaraba Tobin, and the entire staff. So this is a month that the founder and the visionary of Tobinco Group has dedicated, that we should spend time and reflect on Entrance Pharmaceuticals, let Ghanaians know the quality that the factory produces, and then also reach out to Ghanaians with these quality products that we produce. Mind you, back then in March when COVID visited us as a country, a lot of things have gone on, and the government put in a 5-pronged strategy to be able to manage this. And the fifth of the strategies is to ensure that we have available capacity for the local manufacture of some of these PPEs and these medicines. And that is where Entrance has spent much of its time in this COVID season. So we are trying to celebrate the products that Entrance has produced, like the Omal hand sanitizer, like our Azirocin, which is azithromycin.
I can see them on the table already.
Hydroxychloroquine, which is the first company to produce hydroxychloroquine in West Africa, that is Entrance. So we are celebrating our own, what we have as Ghanaians in this whole month, and let Ghanaians also trust in the quality that we produce. That is the whole purpose of the celebration.
Now, this Entrance Month means that you have a program of activity, and what would they be?
Sure. Indeed, we have a series of activities that we want to bring the average Ghanaian closer to us. We want Ghanaians to know what Tobinco Group stands for, and for that matter, Entrance Pharmaceuticals. We will do a lot of activations. In other words, we will extend our kindness to Ghanaians at large, from wholesalers to hospitals to everybody in the country, just for them to feel what a Ghanaian can do. And just as he rightly said, Entrance Pharmaceuticals, we are not only limited to the 4 corners of Ghana, we are in about 15 African countries. The hydroxychloroquine that you have just made mention of, we are the first pharmaceutical company in Africa to have hydroxy. Indeed, COVID has thrown a huge challenge to world at large. And a Ghanaian company being able to produce hydroxychloroquine is telling the whole world that in terms of a pandemic like this, we can produce something to sustain ourselves. There's a lot that we can put in place to sustain Ghana health. And indeed, we have been able to get this beautiful product called hydroxychloroquine, which other African countries are ordering for, which have an impact on our GDP, and we are able to raise Ghana flag higher in the name of Entrance Pharmaceutical by producing this singular drug called hydroxychloroquine in the name of COVID.
Now, for all the things that we have to do, means that there's some unique attribute about Entrance among the competition. What would they be?
Thank you. So, people would ask us, how do you compare with this pharmaceutical company in Ghana here and there? What we want to see, and we want your listeners to appreciate, that Entrance was built not only for Ghana, but the whole of Africa. So we do not compete even on the Ghana platform. We are higher because Entrance is the biggest pharmaceutical manufacturing facility in the whole of West Africa. So it puts us ahead of our pack even in Ghana. Beyond that, we are ISO certified, ISO 9001:2015, which is a rare thing for a company to have it here. We are having a UNIDO classification B+, again, something which is also very rare for a company in sub-Saharan Africa to be able to attain. And the biggest thing which is going to happen, I'm sure the next time you invite me here, that's what I'm going to talk about, is that we are gunning towards WHO pre-qualification.
Wow.
And that we are just about 80% there. If we're able to achieve it, the implication is that a product like Lufat is not going to stay only in Ghana, but the whole world, especially if development partners come in to subsidize and get it across, so that your colleagues in US and Europe will be able to use this product because it's a good quality product. And we have air handling units. We are the only company in Ghana having an air handling unit in our factory. And then that also positions us very, very high. We have a beta-lactam facility and a non-beta facility, which ensure that you have limited cross-contamination of powders, especially the penicillins and the other drugs. So Entrance is really positioned for the competition globally and not only in Ghana. I mean, we are much, much higher. And we have a good workforce. We have highly skilled professionals. We have our own in-house engineering department that ensure that our machines are always up and running. We have very good policies also in place just to ensure that the quality that comes from Entrance meets international global standards.
Yeah, and good standard operating procedures. But we all do know we've been in a period of COVID-19 since then, and so that would mean that the work that you do will come in handy. How do we hope to take advantage of that? Let me ask you that, Mr. Sabunkudi.
Well, we are taking positive advantage of that with Mother Ghana at heart. Yes, as he said, currently we have set up another factory within our factory. Our factory covers the space that the factory covers about 10 acres. So we have enough space. Currently, we have set up a test factory within the main factory, and that is targeting COVID. We are able to produce this beautiful hand sanitizer by name Omal. We are producing soaps, the basic things that we need as far as COVID is concerned. I must, at this stage, also bring to the notice of our listeners that Entrance Pharmaceutical is just not a pharmaceutical company, just as the way we've said so far. We have Entrance University College attached. We also have Entrance University attached. The reason is that students come to learn and have the practical exposure within the same factory. You don't call yourself a pharmacy student, they're having practical experience. And we are honored once again to say that this is the only pharmaceutical company in Africa that have both school and factory. And indeed, in the school, we are just not offering pharmacy. Things are changing. We are offering a program called PharmD, that is Doctor of Pharmacy. And we are the first private university in Ghana to
be doing that.
To have gotten that accreditation. Indeed, this is pointing towards quality. And when you come to pharmaceuticals at large, we try as much as we can to get all the wonderful products that Mother Ghana needs, especially health insurance. We have all the products that health insurance need, and we're producing it locally, and we are able to satisfy Mother Ghana at large.
But before you take leave of us, what would be the one watch statement you say 5 years from now? Where do we want to see Entrance, and especially this beautiful, innovative month that you've set aside, Entrance Month?
Thank you very much. So the vision is big. It's very, very big. My CEO will tell you that he hopes to have a plane, a cargo plane, carrying Entrance products across the borders of the world. That is where we're going to. So we are moving towards global distribution, not only in Africa. So a lot of things are in place just to ensure, and for Ghanaians to really feel that we have something good at home, that you travel to US and you see your product from Ghana there because it's coming from Entrance, and that is how the quality is. So we want to encourage Ghanaians to patronize Entrance and Entrance products, and I'm sure they will enjoy the quality thereof.
Well, thank you for passing through the studio. It's been very enlightening. We're hoping that the next time or the next year you're celebrating your Entrance Month, we will again have you here in the studio to have some great highlights. Well, we've had here in the studio Mr. Christopher Mensah. He's a Deputy Managing Director for Tobinco Pharmaceuticals, and they have this great company within the Tobinco Group, Entrance Pharmaceutical, that's doing great work, and also doing great work for Entrance, as well as the Tobinco Pharmaceutical chain itself, is Mr. Musa Abdullahi Sabunkudi, who is the Marketing Manager for Prescriptions, also joining me as well. Thank you very much. One person who couldn't join me but had been on the sidelines to make sure this is possible is Mr. Lufat himself, the Marketing Manager for OTC Division, Tobinco Pharmaceuticals, Enoch Bafo Boni, aka Mr. Lufat. But that'll be for now. Again, just watch this TVC that they have on their product, Lufa. And it's all part of Entrance Pharmaceuticals Entrance Month, and I hope that all of us have been educated. Now, let's just apprise you of the latest. This one is just coming. The president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has relieved the district chief executive for the Amansia South district in the Ashanti region, William Asante, of his position. And we know that William Asante Bediakon, as well as the Krapim North Municipal Chief Executive, Dennis Abuaje, all have lost their job. The decision of the president was made known in a statement by the Ministry of Local Government announcing the nomination of new appointees to take over these positions. Now, Mr. Bediakon especially was in the news recently defending operations of illegal miners within his jurisdiction or district. In the video, which now has gone viral. It was reportedly at a ceremony to commission a toilet facility at Manso Tonto Krom. And there, the DC expressed his disappointment or disagreement with activities taken to clamp down on illegal mining by his own government. Now, the reason for Mr. Dennis Abuaje, the Krapim North MC's dismissal so far is unclear. Already, we do know that the president has also announced one Abdul Munin Issa to succeed the late mayor of Sekondi Takrade, the late Anthony KK Sam. Now, Mr. KK Sam died from, as we all know, is confirmed, COVID-19 at the University of Ghana Medical Center on 12th June 2020 after contracting the virus. Well, we'll bring you more of this news on News Desk, but we have to take a break. When we come back, we'll bring you some highlights from the world of entertainment.